make sure.
Just you're on.
Hello. Welcome to the Internal Revolution of Black Love series. I am here today with some special guests, of course. Whenever. Well, hello, tribe. This is the Internal Revolution of Black Love series, and we are on our 5th episode today. Just super thrilled to be here. As usual, we've got Shara. Hi, Shara.
Hey, girl.
We've got Shakina.
Hey, Jess. Hey,
Hey.
Tribe.
Hi.
Y'all need to put some enthusiasm in y'all voices. What is going on? We will not do this dry stuff today.
I'm not doing dry. That was Shara. What are you talking about?
You're not about to come to me like I'm proud.
Okay, here we go. Round 3 or take 3.
Okay,
Here we
yes.
go.
Y'all some perfectionists.
How
over
was
here.
I not? How was
Jeez
I?
Louise.
See, this is where the men and women thing comes in. It really is.
We just get into it. Just get into it.
This was not a thing for her to have to start over.
Okay.
I was just putting my 2 cents out there. I know my girls, and it was a little low.
Well, Shara gave me
Hey,
like,
Tribe. Oh my God, what's up? Twerk, twerk, twerk.
Now I don't know about all that.
yeah, I didn't know. I mean, I thought I was smiling. I was happy. Okay, here we go. Last time. Take 3.
Go ahead whenever you're ready.
Okay. Well, hello, tribe. Welcome to the Internal Revolution of Black Love. I'm Jessica. As always, I have my ladies here with me, Shara.
Hey, girl. Hey.
Hey, have Shakina here.
Hey, Jess. Hey, Tribe.
Hey, and today we have some very, very, very special guests. We decided to incorporate some gentlemen within our conversation. So I am going to get into introducing them. But in just a minute, I have Adam here, Jackie, and Sean.
Hey guys.
What's up, everybody?
Hey, guys.
How you guys doing?
What's up?
Good,
Good.
good. How are you all feeling today?
Talkative.
Let's get into it.
Oh, bring it on. Bring it on. We have a lot to talk about.
Talkative.
So we're going to get into the background of these fellas, but before we do that, I just want to talk to the tribe just for a minute about hopefully you've been catching every single episode, but in case you haven't, we've been on a journey the last 4 episodes, really exploring ourselves in Black love, because Shakina and I and Shara learned a long time ago, or maybe not so long ago, that the whole Black love journey to us starts within ourselves. So we knew that when we started this Black love series, we could not do it without talking about ourselves first and getting to the core of that. So actually, we haven't even really dived into the relationship stuff. That's coming next season, so stay tuned. This was all about self-work. So we've had therapists on our show. We've talked about triggers and traumas. We've talked about our inner work and what we need to do to better ourselves, to get ourselves ready for y'all or continue in the relationships we're in and be the best version of ourselves in our Black love. That all being said, we definitely want to hear from you fellas. We are anxious and excited, and I'm sure our tribe is, to hear about what Black love means to you.
Mm-hmm.
So, just throw it out there. Whoever's ready to just talk about what Black love means to you.
Well, I'm gonna be brief because I'm the one that speak that much. Sean, he's the one that's gonna elaborate the most.
No.
But my definition of Black love, I think Black love is, if you want to get in a biblical sense, you look at the structure. You look at God, man, family, right? So not particularly in that order, but if you have those 3 components, I think and you keep those traditions for as with that, God, man, family, I think that's Black love to me. And that's all. And I'm out.
I can dig it.
I would say Black love is it takes an effort. Black love is something that has to be consistently adjusted. It has to be consistently progress forward, because being African American in this country, the finish line is always moved for us. So when you talk about relationships, you have to almost run it like a business. Black love is definitely benefits to it if it's done right, but if it's specific to the relationship that you guys are talking about. I think Black love has to get back to the individuals and not just a grand scheme of what's popular in pop culture when it comes to relationships.
Can you get Sean? So explain to me what you mean by that.
I think
with what's popular.
I think with what's popular, what, and it's not that it's the only thing they show, but they show a lot of back and forth fighting in relationships. If you look at a lot of the movies that's out, a lot of the sitcoms, a lot of the reality shows, it's consistent fighting, it's consistent cheating, it's consistent scandals. But what they don't show, and I know it's out there, they don't show the good families, the families that don't have the scandal, the family that don't have all the cheating. It's not a balance of what they show us what Black love really is. I know you have certain shows, I think Oprah Own has one, that it just talks about a lot of the celebrity relationships and what they actually been through. Because a lot of times, relationships are not about, a lot of times, the shiny stuff. It's about what y'all weather together. It's about what have we survived. That's what makes a relationship strong. It's not what I can buy you. It's what have we survived together. And I didn't leave you, you ain't leave me. That's what I think Black love is. It's the actual understanding of we did this together. We endured. Not we purchased. We endured. It's a difference. So that's just my little tidbit of what Black love is.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, you know, our tribe wants to hear from Jackie. So we're going to Jackie.
These men are already getting so deep already. So go ahead, Jackie.
How am I supposed to follow that?
Right.
But for me, Black love is its origin. It's really the origin of everything that we do, everything that we've learned, everything that we've been taught, everything that we've seen. But I think it also comes down to how do you formulate it? Because as a child, we saw our mothers and our father, what we thought was love. But as Sean said, it could have been arguing, it could have been some indecisiveness, it could have been cheating, it could have been a second and third family outside. If we can get back to, and we said it prior to the camera started rolling, to self, because no one can make you happy but you, and as long as you understand what you are willing to accept, your non-negotiables, but also, are you willing to be that person that you're asking to be with? And a lot of people don't really look at that. They say, oh, I want this, I want this, I want this. But are you that person? So you can't ask for something that you're not willing to be, something you're not willing to give, or something you're not willing to do. So for me, it all origin and really understand what is important to you, what's not important to you, what you're willing to deal with, what you're not willing to deal with, and be able to also, as he said, you endure, because love is not supposed to hurt. So that's.
Thank you, Jackie.
I don't know about that. Now, hold up.
All right.
Love is not supposed to hurt.
It's not supposed to hurt.
Well, okay, I'm sorry. What you got going on now?
Black love to me is the origin. As I stated, it's like I said, it's about self and this proclivity and being able to really grasp, where you are. Like I said, your journey, what you're willing to do, your non-negotiables. But like I said, be that person or be that. Just be that person. I was going to say entity, but we're not entities. You be that person that you are asking for, and be willing to sacrifice and be willing to endure and be able to really understand the temporary inconvenience for permanent changes. Because a lot of times we're asking for, oh, I want this, I want this, I want this. And like I said before the cameras came on, we are not in a position to really want, because we haven't healed from whatever has come present or from our past. And there are triggers and there's things that happens. So for me, like I said, love is origin, understanding self, understanding what you want, what you need, what you're not willing to do, what you're not willing to give, but also have an understanding of accountability, being present, and then really understanding, who you are and what you want from your relationship, but you can't ask anything from a relationship if you're not willing to give. And that, to me, like I said, that's Black love origin. And they say we're the first people, so we learned that from a very young age. So that's my 2 cents.
Wow, I don't even know where to go. Like, I'm processing everything you just said. I mean, that's a lot, really.
It was a lot.
Yeah,
It was a lot.
That's the first part about, well, not really the first part, but when he went into talking about we are the first people, whether other cultures or nationalities, races want to agree with that, we are. And I think that we need to live in that more and understand. And I think when we regain that power to know that we gave life to everybody else, that's going to be a game changer for our community and for our love and how we love ourselves, how we love our community and the people around us.
And I also think it helps with us understanding how powerful Black love actually is. Like, if we really uphold the standards, and I think that it's interesting that some people, when they define Black love, it's more in a traditional sense. Like, Adam, you talked about God, man, family. Some people may disagree with that, but that's why we have this conversation, is what is all of our definitions. However, no matter what, I think that we all, as Black people, as a melanated people, as people from the African diaspora, need to get back to what is the root of, all of that is love. We were always big tribal people. That's part of the reason why we listen to our podcast the tribe, right? It really is deeply connected to who we are. We're always big in community. So if we get back to what it means for us to love, in a sense of what it means based on our history and where we come from, I think we are going to get to a good place.
So what is Black love for you guys? For the ladies?
Look, we're all sitting. I think because we've talked about it so much.
So I think. Go ahead, Jess.
No, go ahead, Shakina.
So for me, I want to start off and just say a shout out to all of our LGBTQIA plus tribe members that are listening. Happy Pride Month. From Black Woman Reborn, we love you. You are supported through this platform. Coming from your sister in love and a member of this community, we want you guys to know that the ones that don't feel loved during this time, during this month, especially from our community, that you can depend on Black Woman Reborn to support you. So if you have any questions or you need help, please inbox us, whether that's on our Facebook or through our IG. And also on our website, we would love to hear from you and correspond, connect you with anybody or any organizations that can also help you. So that's my little plug for tonight as far as LGBT and Pride Month. Again, just saying to those that don't feel loved this month, you are loved, you are supported, and you are somebody. But as far as Black love to me, it goes way beyond just the partnership of a relationship with your significant other. The mother and father bond from the very beginning, just feeling supported and connected by a group of people that you know without a shadow of a doubt that they love you, they care for you, that they're going to support you when you're down, when you're up, and even when you go through certain things, whether it's negative, financial struggles, you are still supported by a group of individuals that will carry you into your next season when you're down. So for me, just that's a little snippet of what I feel like love from a Black perspective is.
Yeah, thank you, Shakina. And thank you for bringing that up too with Pride Month. Because I definitely wanted to touch base about that. And maybe we can, share something later on that, because I definitely think that's important. But going into what I think Black love is, it's a lot of what you gentlemen brought up earlier when you were sharing your definition. I think it's a combination of just supporting, loyalty, friendship, trust, and I think really sticking in unconditionally, because I think with this society, as Jackie alluded to, or Sean, as Sean was talking about, I think a lot of times it's easy to give up with the type of society we're in. So to me, Black love is, sticking in through thick and thin and just getting through unconditionally. And I think that's a big part, and knowing yourself, and also being open and willing to explore therapy. We've talked a lot about that in our series, but I have to kind of plug that, because I think we all need to be open to therapy. Not that it's the cure-all, but it definitely makes a big difference. And I think in my experience, not bashing males, this is just a reality.
Right.
My experience and my girls' experience is a lot of Black males still are not open, or a lot of Black men are still not open to therapy. And I think that's a huge part of healing in Black love and being able to have successful, healthy relationships.
Why do you think that? Why do you think that?
My understanding is, when I talk to them, I get things like, oh, I don't believe that works. It's not going to help me. I can do my own self-work.
Okay.
So somewhere along the line, obviously we know a lot of, the stereotype is that Black families don't believe in therapy. I think that still holds true a bit, but we've evolved a lot. So
Right.
I don't know sometimes if they just don't want to be vulnerable. That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking like sometimes Black men are just like, I can solve everything on my own.
All right. Well, I'll say this. In my personal experience, and I'm not going to go into intricate details, but I think a lot of Black men, they opt out of counseling because the person that gave them triggers, there's probably somebody close to them in the family. And what happens is, I think a lot of our triggers and a lot of our relationship, just our hangups, it come from early childhood trauma. The trust. Somebody took your trust from you. Somebody you trusted took your trust from you. And what happens is it pushes you away from love. It's like, I just had twins, right? And my girl tell me, stop holding the babies on your chest. I'm like, but they go to sleep. She was like, because you're going to spoil them. And I had to tell her, it's a child. It should want to be spoiled with love. Like, that's why it goes to sleep. And as we have these emotional events as children, with amongst people that we trust, once we get into the world, that ring of love, it gets further and further back. That's why love is so sought after, like it's rare. And it's actually not. But we have to understand, a lot of counseling has to start with the family. So if when I meet you and you say, I need counseling, it's like, no, my whole family needs counseling. I got to get straight with them. Then I can say, you know what? Now I understand where you're coming from. So, and I'm a guy, I wasn't a proponent for counseling until I went and I understood how it helped. I understood how it progressed me, and how I understood that a lot of my actions as an adult male had everything to do with my childhood. What I felt love was, what I thought love was, and protection, and how I protected myself as a man. So a lot of people, they're afraid of counseling because the one thing counseling is going to do is it's going to make you be accountable. It's going to make you accountable.
And hurt. You have to, you're going to go through some pain.
Yeah, it hurts, but sometimes you have to understand hurt comes with progression forward. It's just because you don't like the way it feels, that don't mean it's not good for you.
Exactly.
That's the one thing. Just because it's not to your liking, that doesn't mean it's not good for you.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, congratulations, Sean, as well.
Thank you.
Yes.
My first kids.
Girls, boys, both.
A boy and a girl.
Oh my God.
Yes.
See, you got it.
Yeah, they're 7 days old.
You got it.
Yes.
Got it.
Yes.
Over with in a 2-for-1.
One shot, one. Craps, we won.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Safe.
That's it.
Shara, we want to hear from you because the gentlemen haven't heard about
She's
what
being
your
quiet over there.
definition is.
Yeah, I think because the conversation is always already so rich, and I'm just enjoying to hear the male perspective, because a lot of times we do prioritize uplifting the Black woman's perspective. So it's always nice to have the men come on. And it's almost like a theme, Shakina, because our finale from last season, that's when we finally brought in a male, right? So this series finale to bring in the men, I think, is befitting. But to me, I'm just going to simply put it this way. I think Black love is revolutionary. And I think that because I think we have so much up against us and the structure of our family throughout history, that in order to be in a space now where we are celebrating being in love, marrying despite what statistics they put out there about Black people not getting married, men being faithful despite the social media saying it's cool to cheat and be unfaithful and it's okay, despite everything that we have up against us, whether it's media representation or our own internal issues, we still out there loving, we're still out there caring, we're still out there reshaping what the Black family looks like. Just simply put, I think Black love is revolutionary. And I think that we are on the brink in this generation of something special. And I love seeing Black men and women just love on each other, and just the shout out Shakina, who did say she put a plug in for the LGBTQIA community. I think that's a huge part of Black love in our community that we need to recognize, and it need to be less of plugging it in and just being part of the normal course of our conversations.
Yeah, Shara, I couldn't agree more with everything you just said. I love that you incorporated that word that we always use, evolution. Because that, to me, that's life. Like, if you're not evolving, then what are you living for?
It's a great question.
So I have a question for you guys. So I know you got to get on to the next question, but the question is, we say Black love, right? First of all, what is Black love, and how do we distinct that from the actual term love? Or is it a distinction? Because a lot of people, they put the two together versus, okay, what makes this so distinct from this particular love?
The difference with Black love,
mm-hmm.
See, Caucasian love, they always had the house. There was the mother, there was the father, the slave owner, the kids.
So they had stability.
Black love was a house with people thrown in it from all type of different families, and they made it work. We didn't care where your kid was from, what slave owner you came from. They put us all in one house. That's Black love. We're going to make it work. You're not my child, but you're a child in this house. We got to raise you.
Like a village.
That's
like a village.
100%. Yeah, 100%. That's the difference. We didn't have structure in the beginning. They always had structure. Right. We had to consistently create structure, whether it was diet, education, hygiene, whatever it was. We had to create it.
Come on, I love that. The diet part, right? Black love is how we cook. Black love is soul food.
It's everything. It's everything.
And to add to what Sean said, I think it's, I don't know, we're one of the most forgiving races, period.
Yeah.
You see, so when you're forgiving, grace, that's what we were taught. We were taught mercy. We were taught, second chances. But we got away from the understanding of our own ability to make decisions.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Right.
So when you get away from that, we forgot really what community was. We forgot what unity was. If you think about I'm not even gonna go back that far, but you go back to the 60s, the 70s, right?
Right.
The 50s, we seen unification.
Right.
We seen communication. We seen admiration, organization. Yeah. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
And so in doing that, as he stated, if you think about it, if you go back from slaves, if you go back to the slaves,
mm-hmm.
we were the only people that endured the most pain, besides, I'm gonna say the Jews,
mm-hmm.
They can say that, but endured the most pain, still to this day,
right?
And we still find the strength to forgive. That's heavy.
Mm-hmm.
And in forgiving, you have to understand that most people don't even know why they're forgiving. That's just a principle that we've been taught.
Mm-hmm. I can go deep with that right there, but I can't.
Yeah. So we've been taught to forgive, not knowing why, not knowing because of this. No, it's forgive them. Mm-hmm. It's okay. Just go ahead and forgive. Just forget about it. Pray for them. That's what we've taught.
So
save your prayers for yourself.
The reason why I say that because what I want to go back to Black love, because forgiveness, we can forgive everybody else but ourselves. Mm-hmm. That's one, right? Self, and we can't forgive our mate. We can forgive everybody else. I forget what movie this was. I think it was. I was looking at this document. It was Arthur Baldwin. What's his name? Baldwin. James Baldwin. James Baldwin and Arthur. Well, anyway, it was back in the 70s. They was talking about, and they were speaking about love, and she was like, "Lie to me when you come home, because you lie to everybody else. Why you just can't lie to me?" And,
that was the
and that was a real
author, Nikki Giovanni.
That's right. And I said that's a real statement. It's like you lie to everybody else around,
right?
But when you come home, you give me
give me the good stuff. Give me the good news.
Right.
She said lie to me.
So you lie to them crackers every day. But when you come home to me, you got to give me X, Y, and Z.
So I have a question.
So that's what I mean by Black love.
It's so funny. I wrote this down. How can you prepare for successes and failure knowing that you don't like who you are?
So I'm glad you say that, Jackie, because we talk about, us in our tribe, we talk about self-love all the time. Really, that's been the theme throughout our series, because like we said, it all starts with self.
Correct.
So all of this is really going back to self-love.
Correct.
And how we feel about ourselves is how we're going to project to others. And what do we do if we don't self-love? And we've talked about that on our show. We've actually come up, because we're all about, of course, progressing in solutions. So we don't just talk about the problems.
Right.
We talk about how are we going to love ourselves better.
Sean said this last time we was on the show, hurt people.
Yeah.
Definitely. I mean, that's the truth.
Definitely. Yeah. So I think
as Black men, I like that question, Sean, because I feel like that's one of the things that plagues our community, is that we are on this perpetual journey of trying to figure out who we are, whether that's individually as Black men and women or as a community. And I think that's one of the things that plagues us. A lot of times people are like, oh, well, I feel like we should be further along as a community. But I feel like there's a lot of internal stuff that goes on, intrapersonally and interpersonally amongst us that really impedes that. And for me, I think that, if we do look at the statistics that are very real, I don't think that it's just all encompassing, but I think they're real and it's something to look at. When you look at, the amount of marriages versus the amount of divorce in the Black community, those are things that we need to pay attention to. And I think part of it is because we jump into relationships and we don't take that time to get to know ourselves, right? When you said, how does that relate to successes and failure? A lot of people don't even know what that means, what success means to you in a relationship. Me as an individual, as a woman, how do I feel successful as a woman, as a single mother of 2 girls, as a girlfriend, who's in a relationship? What does that mean? How do I define success? And people don't take that time out to define what that means for them. And I think that's part of the problem, is that, a lot of times we're on autopilot. We're just going through the motions. We're working, we're loving on our mates, our partners. We're, getting our hair, nails, and our lashes done, make sure the glue ain't burning our eyelids off, whatever that may be.
That's a whole other conversation right there.
Now,
I can talk about that too.
Now, Miss Smith, I'm gonna pose a question.
I think that's where we start, is we need to define what is success. What is a successful relationship for Black people with ourselves and with each other?
I think that differentiates from everybody.
It's different.
If you look at the households, like Dwayne Wade made a comment last week on his Instagram. He said that a woman should lead the house. Mm-hmm. Hey man, everybody was giving him flack. That's your house. That's your relationship. That's your understanding. That's your mate's understanding. That's all that matters. As Sean stated, we get so caught up in societal needs, societal things that want to be like, oh, this is how it's supposed to be. Because like I said, when we were growing up, we thought that going to college, buying a house, have a white picket fence, have a family, have a dog.
American dream.
That's the American dream. Right. They lied the complete time. They lied. So for me, it's you formulate your feeling, your understanding, your accountability under your roof. You govern yourselves and how you figure and what's the best for you and how to be loved, what love you want to give, and the respect that's going to be mutual.
I have a question for the ladies. I posed this question last time the fellas got together. Who in your history of your life taught you how to be a great woman to a great man?
I'm watching Shara. So Tribe, you can't see Shara, but she's over here snapping and shaking her head, and I'm thinking the same.
I posed that question because we do a lot of talking about relationships, but if nobody is giving us specific instructions, when you go on a job, you got 90 days of on-the-job training. Nobody tells little young Black boys how to be monogamous with one woman, how to raise children, how to be faithful, how to run a household, how to prioritize, how to be flexible. When you have kids, your life will change. They don't tell us this. We have to find it out, like literally. So now you're looking at us like our parents used to tell us, figure it out. And it's like, well, this is my figuring it out. When we're arguing because really, I don't know. Nobody taught me how to do this. Nobody said
and
that.
we're afraid to say, I don't know.
No, I didn't know.
We can't say, I don't know.
Yeah, I didn't know you was on. I didn't know you felt like. I didn't know that as a man, me buying you stuff and me giving you good sex don't give you security in a relationship. I didn't know that. I had no idea. So now when you really do research, and I'm gonna tell you what I did. I had to go back to all of my exes and I had to get a critique. Was I a good boyfriend? 90% of them said, hell no, you were horrible.
To all of them, man?
All of them. But you know what I did? I got a pen and a paper. Tell me what I need to improve on at that time of my life. Because you have to go to a prerequisite. People have to tell you where you need to go read some literature or you need to grow in. Now, we have all of these bad relationships, but if the relationships and the problems are getting repetitive and you're going just the same issues, well, I don't think that's a relationship problem. You just found that relationship habit you have. It's not a problem. You found your habit.
That's comfort.
Sean over here taking us to a counseling.
You found your habit. When you have the same exact problems, that's not a problem. You have found a habit. That's the difference when you say, I want a successful relationship. Well, okay, who's the benchmark? How are we taught to be with the person of the opposite sex and be friends with them first? To understand it don't have to go my way, but you have to care for them. Even when you might don't like them today, you still gotta care for them. I think we've had no teaching on relationships.
I think we had one, but we don't know the inside of it. I think Michelle Obama helped a lot of women, a lot of Black women. I'm not saying what goes on inside the house, but what she exemplifies outside, how she's a woman that leads her family. Her husband was a president, how she still was a mother to her kids and still was being positive in the Black community. Right. I think that hope that she gave to the people, I think they help a lot of Black women in general, because not a lot of Black girls looking at a benchmark, like we said, I could be the president and I could still be a wife. Versus saying I could be a businesswoman, I don't need a man.
The only difference, they're looking at Michelle Obama already married, already with kids, already to have a degree.
Right.
Tell that woman that this 23, there's a sophomore in college and got a C average and don't know what she's doing. She has no clue.
There has to be some in between.
Yeah, you. That's why. Yes.
Looking at her mama struggle through relationship and trauma. You know what I'm saying? There has to be some in between. So I really love that question. I was snapping and going crazy because I've sat here and I thought that to myself. Like now that, and the ladies know that I'm in a relationship that I was in before after 3 years. So it's like, after, all this self-love journey I thought I was in, and I'm like, yeah, I'm healed. Whoever come to me next, they're going to get the best shot they can get. Oh, they better be ready, because as soon as I got in this relationship, all that went out the door. And it felt like, what work did I do, right? Because like you said, you get triggered and your healing and everything you've been through is being tested. So it's like, I have to now think like, I have to go deeper. Everything that you said, I have to dig deeper. And that's one of the questions that I ask myself. Shar, where have you learned your habits from, right? I follow Tony Robbins. I do a lot of motivational stuff. And one of the things he says is that you cannot change as a person if you don't change your habits. Correct. And a lot of people don't change because they refuse to change their habits. So it's like, for me, what is habitual for me in my relationships? And for me, we talked about this. I overthink myself right into thinking that you're cheating on me and we breaking up and your car's on fire. And now I got a charge.
Oh my God.
So
Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
She went to the car.
Wait a minute.
Oh my goodness. No more Jasmine Sullivan for you. No more Jasmine Sullivan for you.
You go from black love to call a fire department.
She had a trigger.
So look, let me ask you this.
I chose violence today. Okay.
Wow.
Can I ask you this? I want to be messy right quick.
Oh my God.
Why did you go back?
I went back because same thing. In retrospect, I realized that the first time me and this gentleman dated, I was the problem.
Okay.
He was ultimately the problem that ended the breakup, but I had a lot of issues. So I knew that, right? And I called myself working on myself for the past 3 years. When he asked to try again a couple of months ago, after thinking about it, I was just like, okay, I think I'm ready. I think I'm ready, whether it was him or anybody else. I was intentionally single, celibate, all that for 3 years. And, thinking that I was ready and prepared. And then I got into a relationship and triggers started happening all over again. Right.
One word. One word, one thing through it all. You see what I'm saying? And it's crazy because testing. We say we're tested. Who's the instructor? Who's the student? Now, if we're following, per se, I don't want to get into religion, but a lot of people pose this on religion. We pose this on religion because those are the so-called principles that we were brought up on. So who's the teacher as the instructor and who's the student? Because as they say, God doesn't test you. They say that. They say God does not test you. So once again, going back to what you just said, Shower, all I can explain and all I would like to share is change your words, because your words bring the validation of, if you're being tested, your words bring along that past, like you said, those triggers, those things, whatever that's encompassing the anger, the angst, the hold on to, because we're waiting to be tested. A test is only going to be two things that happen.
Pass or fail.
Pass or fail.
That's it.
That's it. There is no in between. There is no in between. So if you fail, what do you do after that?
You go over it again.
And if you pass, what are you gaining?
A new level of understanding.
Not necessarily true.
A new level of understanding.
That's not necessarily true. Because if you pass, that can only be for that day. We battle daily.
Okay.
Daily. It's a battle in finding what you're happy, how you're happy, why you're happy.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? So in this particular testing, if everybody in here has taken tests, we've taken the ACT, the SAT, we've been in school, failed that test, and how do you feel?
You got to take it over, though.
You're miserable.
Well, yeah, but you still got to prepare. You're not going to stop.
That's a lie.
Well, some people do.
And that's what I'm saying. So the word tested is so prevalent, and it's so, to me, trigger.
Okay.
Because we hinge a lot of our successes and our gains and our positivity and our growth and our maturation on testers.
Right.
Or we're being tested. And that's the truth. And that's how I feel about that. So for me to you, I congratulate you on your relationship, but just try your best to, as you're being tested, make sure you're the orator of your test.
I agree. And I think, even you, Adam, you brought in another word in relation to that is how well we prepare for it, right? So if I already have done the inner work and I already know that, then I should prepare myself for those moments. And what does that look like for me? And I think that's part of the process. I think it's all of a process. And you're going to be tested, whether that's internally, my own overthinking, my own insecurities, the triggers from the past, all of that to me is how I put all of that in a testing bucket. or whether that's, here's one thing I want y'all to recognize as men.
Talk about it.
Listeners in the tribe is that when we talk about these external tests, men act like y'all the only ones out here who be tested, who all these.
Why she get the voice?
I don't know.
Women out here get tested. Women get tested just as much, and we have to endure, to use a word that have come up that I want to go back to. We have to endure those tests, those external tests, and stay the course because we've done the preparation. And I think one of the things that, yes, we've done the preparation. We are staying the course. While y'all out there, doing God knows, be in our woman groups, reading the Bible and praying.
Wait a minute. We gotta say y'all. Why y'all say y'all? Why y'all out there?
Didn't we just have a whole enlightened 30-minute conversation?
Right. And she's snapping her fingers while y'all out there.
Oh my
Somehow
God.
this just digressed.
I do want to answer the question though. So I came from a 2-parent household, mother and father. I know that I had a very good representation of Black love, from a female to male perspective and a male to female perspective. My dad and my mom, they both supported each other. They both were breadwinners, so I got that perspective as well from them. So I go into saying all of that because although I feel like my mother prepared me for a heterosexual relationship, there are still things that I needed to go back when I dealt with men that I wasn't prepared for. So I think even though you have a certain foundation, and even though my father taught me how I should be treated, we still have to, that goes back into us being individuals. Like you learn something you prepare for, but until you're tested, you really don't know if you're ready. I know you want us to change that, Jackie. We're gonna work on it.
No. Well, the thing about it,
I'm in agreement with you.
Look.
How about a tribulation or a trial? We go through trials.
But she just said it. She just said her dad gave her instructions on what type of guy she deserved. Did your father give you instructions on how you should treat that guy once you get him? So
we did have conversations though.
Okay.
About certain things. So if you're in a relationship, and I don't think, when you're a teenager, it's not necessarily defined when you're in a relationship. These are the things, this is who you need to be for someone. This was my teachings.
Right.
This is who you need to be to somebody. You want to be loved, you love them. You want to be heard, you hear them. If you want to be understood, you understand them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I don't think that's fair, but I understand what you're saying.
You don't think that's what?
I don't think that's fair. I don't think that's reality.
But that's what she was taught.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like I said, I agree.
All of that is to go back to say, like my mom, on the other hand, she had certain things she would tell me certain things. Well, you need to cook, you need to clean, you need to do this, you need to do
right.
that. So there's not that there's always this thing of being taught certain things. Some of us are taught. But then when we become the women and the men that we are going to be moving into our own relationships, what do we keep? What do we sift out? And how do we elevate that to the next level? So I think that some people are taught, but some people are taught at different levels.
Right,
because
definitely.
Your mom took the time to teach you how to treat a man or treat yourself or your father. We're just at a different disadvantage sometimes. And it's going to take more love. It's going to take more tries. It's going to take more learning where you are going to have to visit some things. So even with certain foundations, we have to realize too that there's still going to be some soul searching at whether you got the foundation or you didn't get the foundation to move forward and always continue to be better, because what people taught you isn't always the reality in your relationship.
Correct.
And you can be with this person. So I think all of us have had our first, and we've been madly in love, and we thought that this was going to be it. And what we did in that relationship to be all of this to somebody, the current relationships that we are, for some of us, we've had to switch all of that all together. Even some of the foundational things, I feel like, because even going back to like what our love language is, I think as we get older, our love languages even change. Yeah, so for me, I think at a certain level, certain age, maybe gifts and stuff like that was my love language. Now I want time, I want connection, I want to physically feel. And then I'm at a position where I can afford certain things on my own. I mean, of course, you'd still want to receive and reciprocate certain things, but my love language is love. It is being affectionate and touched and all. So again, not to start all over again, some of us we all get some sort of foundation, whether it's right or wrong. It's what we do with it moving forward.
Absolutely.
And that's fair. That's fair. How you said that, that was 100% fair.
And it makes sense, Shakina. I was going to say, using myself as an example, honey, I don't know what my excuse is, and this is a compliment and honor and love to my dad, because I have a daddy and he's not perfect, and he definitely made his mistakes as you
ain't got to do him that. I know, just talk regular. You ain't got to do him that.
I know what he did to a certain extent before I came.
Why you put the asterisk on there?
Because
let him be the cool dad.
I mean, because you got to like recognize real, but also I'm saying the daddy was phenomenal. My dad always showed up, was always there, was always this, and then there's me. I go and get married. I go and get married to the wrong person for me.
Okay.
And go through a lot of relationships and this. So I say that, I mean, all seriousness, Shakina, I get what you're saying, because we have to look at, so what's my, not excuse, but like, then what's going on with me? Because I do have a dad who taught me all the right ways, who showed me love as a man, who told me to care for myself, and he showed it to me. Like he still is about women respecting themselves, men respecting women, I've been through some trials, so I sometimes question myself, like I don't necessarily pick the best men for myself.
I have a question. It just came to me. I'm sorry. Thank you for sharing. But my question is, going back to Shakina, I totally agree with you. And I don't never want to mix up what I'm saying, but my question is, how long, and I pose this in a different way when we had our discussion. Okay. How long are you willing to run the race to make yourself happy?
It depends on the day. I know you're asking.
But the thing about it is, because we are looking for validation to make someone else happy.
Correct.
To make someone else joy, to make someone else experience whatever to love us. Right. So how long are we willing to run the race to make ourselves happy? No one else, not dealing with anyone else. How long are you willing to run the race to make yourself happy?
That's for a man or a woman? That's
period.
The question?
Period. Okay. That's the question I'm posing to everybody. Okay. How long are you willing to run the race
for a man,
to make yourself happy?
I think for a man, and a man that takes care of his family, you're willing to run that race until you die, because you still got to provide for these people, no matter what. No matter how old they get, you still got to provide for them. So you just got to, some things you got to sacrifice.
You said family.
Right.
I said yourself.
Oh, all right.
So that's what I'm saying. Okay. So that's what we always do. We always bring that.
Okay.
Just think about what I'm saying before you answer.
All right.
I don't need a quick answer.
Quick on it.
But you're still slow. That's the thing. How long are you willing to run the race? Hear what I'm saying. All right. How long are you willing to run the race to make yourself happy? Because what I had to realize is almost what Jessica said. I'm a single father.
Okay.
Divorced, did everything. I was doing everything to make her happy. Everything. I wasn't in a place of bliss. I wasn't in a place of self-improvement. I wasn't in a place of self-reflection. Okay. I wasn't in a place of gratitude. I wasn't in a happy place. So how long are you willing to run the race and understand it's going to be the trials, it's going to be to get off the track? How long you willing to run the race? Because most of the time, soon as someone comes into our lives, it goes to them. It's about making them happy. It's about, I want to do this for them. I want to do this for that. You see what I'm saying? But yourself, right. How long are you willing to run the race? And most of us stop when it's in anything else, because we feel our happiness is embedded from something else and someone else.
So I want to answer. In this moment of you answering the question, for myself, I am willing to run the race until the end. I can't say what as I continue to learn, grow, do self-work, what it will be tomorrow. I hope that I will find happiness long before it's time for me to depart this physical body. But I am still willing to do the work to find the happiness, because even being
the sound went out.
Yeah.
Shakina,
she in it.
Shakina, your sound, we don't hear nothing.
Your sound went out.
Say something.
can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we're gonna have to start you over.
Okay, what part?
It was like this.
You said I'm willing to run the race until I leave this physical body.
Okay. So I'd rather find full happiness, 100% happiness, years and years before I leave this physical body. But if I don't, I'm willing to run the course to the end. And in that, saying that while still doing the work and being in a relationship, I have gotten to the point where I'm not looking for her to make me happy, but she sometimes does trigger things that let me know that I'm still not happy with me.
Absolutely.
And I have found that in those moments, I can't blame her for not making me happy, but I need to see what is it that I still need to work on, but still communicate with her effectively to let her know, okay, I'm not happy with this. This made me feel this way, but I also did some reflection and know that I'm part of this problem as well, if I am a part of the problem in that moment. So I'm willing to run the race to the end, but hopefully I don't have to.
So Jackie, I have a question for you. Like, bring it back to what you said, but bringing it back to the subject matter, which is the inner work. So we've been talking a lot this season about, practical ways that we as Black women can get to a deeper level of self-awareness and self-love. And, things that come up is meditation, lighting candles, journaling. And those are things that typically we don't see men doing, right? Those are things that are stereotypically feminine things to do. So what does that mean for men? Like you say, defining happiness, and what does that mean for yourselves as men? What does that mean for men? The inner work, that process, discovering what happiness and joy, there's this hashtag Black Boy Joy. What does that mean, and how do you get to that point? And what does that process look like for men? How is that different for women? For the men of our tribe who are out there listening, who's sitting there trying to figure out, like, I know that I can get deeper with this, and I'm just trying to figure out how.
I can only speak for me. I am big on what I had to figure out, and thank you for sharing this, and thank you for asking that question, because it helps me validate what I felt. Just recently, I took a trip. My birthday was a week ago, right? I went to a particular place by myself. We had some other friends. In that moment while I was there, I found comfort in being by myself. A lot of times we're in relationships, we tag people along because we're filling a void, because we feel, oh, you got to have this person, you got to have this thing, you got to have this entity with you, or whatever it may be. For me, it was really sitting down, and Sean said it earlier, I had to almost dump, almost like a delete in my mind, to realize this is not who I am. This is not what I want. This is not what I want for my future. So just like women do, I sage my house. My daughter, she'll ask me, Dad, you sage your house? I'll be like, yeah, like I really believe that, because it's just one of those things that I believe in energy, and I'm very careful of who I'm around. I'm very careful of what I share. I'm very careful of who gets close to me, because I have to protect my peace and my mindset. So everything that women are doing, there's some cats out there doing it. I burn candles, I burn sage, like I say, but the most important thing for me is I had to learn. I didn't have to have someone beside me. I didn't have to have someone to lean on. I didn't have to have someone to express my problems to, because a lot of times you express whatever's wrong, they throw it back in your face. Mm-hmm. So in understanding that, it took some time, and it's going to continue. As Shakina said, I'm still on my journey, but those few things helped me realize that, hey man, I'm all right. And I like who I've become. Like Jay-Z said, I like who I've become, because I know what's in here and what's in here, what I have to offer. Whoever gets this is going to be pretty phenomenal. And that's what I expect. So once again, I go back to the self-teaching of making sure that I'm respectful, making sure that I'm disciplined. Because Mike Tyson said it, discipline is doing something that you hate to do, but you perform it as you love it. I love me. And I had to understand that. And once I started loving me, that gave me more direction, more clarity, more understanding of what I expect from whoever comes into my life.
Right. Can I answer that question? For myself, it starts with one thing: structure. As a man, I would tell you, ladies, if you meet a guy, you look at his structure. What music he listen to? What entertainment does he watch on TV? What books do he read? Do he even read books? You're looking at what his references is in life. So for me, I have a specific structure in my life based on what I have planned for my life. So once I get my structure down pat and I get my mental structure, you get your physical structure. Once you get this structure down pat, everybody who don't like structure, they're going to be X'd out anyway. So now you're going to start meeting people that understands, wait a minute, this person has a certain type of structure in life. So relationships, or even being single, when it does get hard, you go back to the structure. It will always keep you on path. Even when you get off, you can do something through muscle memory when you have zero energy. Like everybody in here, I can take you to the top of a mountain, blindfold you, tie your less dominant hand behind your back and make you brush your teeth, because it's just muscle memory. It's just, you can do this every day, all day. But if we think love is this thing that's floating around and we got to catch it, it's because self-love is not making us feel good. Self-love is structure. Self-love is nutrition. Self-love is understanding how my mind works, period. Self-love is hygiene. How long do you stay in the shower and actually clean yourself? Like self-love is, how long do you actually, when you do you pray for everybody else, or do you pray for yourself? Like your structure, that will always keep you grounded in life, regardless of who you're behind or who you're dealing with. If your structure, I always go back to my structure. Soon as it, like right now, I have 2 7-day-old twins. My structure is completely, but you know the beautiful thing that these kids are teaching me? It's time for some new structure, Daddy. That's it. Most guys that I tell that I have kids, oh, it's gonna be hard. You're not gonna never get no sleep. And I'm looking like, well, nah, I'm just about to be stretched to a new Sean. I'm a father now, so it shouldn't be the same as the single Sean. I shouldn't have the same wants. I shouldn't have the same desires. Financially, I shouldn't want the same thing. It should be something different. But once again, you go back to the structure. And I'm learning how to deal with the new little ones, but it's actually making me better because I'm prioritizing. Now you got to prioritize the family. So now when it was just me and my girl, the love I needed from her was different. Now I need that love to say, I know you're tired, but we got to get this done. Like, I know you're tired, and vice versa. So I would say for myself, it's definitely the structure.
Yeah. and I know we have to wrap up, and I got to kind of pick on Sean after he said this beautiful whole thing about family. Look, I'm over here just thinking, so it's a personal thing with me. I've met a lot of men who have the structure, but it doesn't align with the words and the actions that are coming out of their mouth.
Oh, it looks different. And I'll tell you this. Every man wants to be wealthy. Every man wants to have the biggest house. Every man wants to be able